historical events, yeah, all major historical events had people who were intimately involved with the experience that led, or the experiences that led to that historical event. Be that historical event be a popular, and when I say historical events that have a wide scale effect um, on, on, on the reality in which humans uh, deal with on a day-to-day basis, and whoever those humans be it African American or so forth. The involvement of any organization, the development of any organization, the development of any group has its experiences that led to the development of that group, and there are people that are intimately involved with the development of that group. That's just, nothing comes out of a vacuum, as far as we understand is, well, nothing comes out of thin air, and then even a vacuum. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the actual idea, the ideology that, and then anthropic theory, principle has to be thrown in there. If there's a perfect vacuum, then when do molecules start to? When do particles start to move? How do you get a lower entropy from a perfect vacuum? You can't do it. Light can't escape it. So that's nothingness. There has to be something in which all things are derived from in order for it not to be a perfect vacuum that is derived from. It's because light can't. And if it is a perfect vacuum, it has to, even then it has to derive from something that's in that vacuum that makes it an imperfect vacuum, because there is something within that vacuum that makes it not a vacuum. So, and at one point in time, there always had to be a singularity in that vacuum in order to not make it a vacuum. That's anthropic principle in relation. That's just using concepts of anthropic principle. Now I'm lost. Oh yeah. So historical events in relationship to that. Any historical event or any individuals who emerged within history interacted with individuals in the real world. They did not interact with it. They did not live in a vacuum where they didn't interact with. And some of those people you don't know, as far as history is concerned. Like, let's use Malcolm X as an example. Malcolm X told Alex Haley what he wanted Alex Haley to hear. If you got to read like other biographies done about Malcolm X in relationship to people who actually went into Malcolm X's life and actually went beyond what Malcolm X wanted them to hear in relationship to what he told Alex Haley. The story Alex Haley gives you is not an entirely complete view of Malcolm. I spent a pretty good deal of time studying just primarily Malcolm, and it was because of what happened at was it Brett Epic's house, where Epic kind of got me in a debate about Malcolm X because I didn't know enough about Malcolm X, and that was it's a Jewish boy telling me fucking goddamn what I'm saying. Something about Malcolm X more than I know about Malcolm X. So, or at least giving me a perception that he knows more about Malcolm X than I knew. So I knew the next time that I would have a conversation about Malcolm X, I would know more about Malcolm X than anybody, or as much as I possibly could of anybody who didn't have a direct relationship with the man. And my father, had a direct relationship with the man to a certain extent. So that's neither here nor there. But I only use that as an example, not as an actual. But it might be more so in relationship to why I'm using an example. That there are certain aspects of an individual's history that are not privy to the entire, to the general populace. And the events that took place in the development, the advent of that historical person, persona, is not necessarily always made available to the general populace. And that goes for organizations as well, especially with organizations. It's just recent time that people understand that the majority of the Black Panther parties, or at least the Oakland Party and the expanded National Party, was primarily made of women. So it's again these integral events events or experiences that lead to the development of any organization are privy only to really the individuals who had an intimate connection to that history until someone who had an intimate connection with that, right, that the development of that organization comes forth and says, well, this is the reason, this is how this came forth, and so forth and so on. Or various individuals, like you go to Wikipedia and you can, add your 2 cents into a development of whatever, organization, based upon whatever information you have and how intimate that actual relationship is with that organization, the development of that organization, and how authentic it is. Not just intimate, but the authenticity determines how intimate it actually was. So, just because you don't know certain people were involved with the development of an organization, when there's actually like enough online information, if you want to know, if you want to know about certain aspects of certain organizations and how they developed and became about, it's easy to find out, So, I don't know, man. You kind of gotta, look at that. Like, what mosque before, or what temple was Malcolm X before he went to number 7? I don't know. I mean, I do know, but do you know? There's like this. I mean, you are in an information rich era. Information is at your fingertips, and it's not just written information. You don't got to read it all. Somebody will sit and fucking, actually lecture this shit to you. And that's what you need to looking at videos and shit, like lectures. That's what they are. They're lectures. You have access to some of the most brilliant fucking lecturers and minds, TED Talks and so forth. And you got notebooks. You know what I'm saying? You have access to books, textbooks. You are living in an era in which you have access to a living university. And if you look at your founding fathers and the men and women of their era, specifically the men, because women not so much, but men of their era, these were self-educated individuals. They educated themselves utilizing apprenticeships, access to lecturers, or mentors or so forth, access to literature, and educated themselves, and went kinesthetically learned, and then developed universities based upon their own information. I mean, Virginia and so on and so forth, Pennsylvania. So you really have to kind of utilize the advantages that you have, and you have access to far more, and you don't actually they'll come to you. I mean, you're in a position where you don't have to go to fucking online college. Why online college? Because you need somebody to set parameters for you in order to determine what is suitable or necessary, or really you need the certification in order to enter into the workforce. You need somebody to vouch for you in a relationship, and then they're going to tell you, well, do you have any experience? No, I don't have any experience. But I got a degree. But you don't have no experience. Come back to me when you get some experience. Because I need degree and experience. You know how many places I done worked without a degree, with just a high school diploma / GED, and a whole bunch of college credits. Nigga, if college credits was money, oh shit. If units were money, nigga, I'd be a billionaire right now, nigga. That's an exaggeration, but goddamn, yeah. Like niggas know who went to LACC with me, went to motherfucking SMC with me, fucking went to Atlanta Metro with me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and so on and so forth, man. No, I got units, nigga. Went to fucking goddamn Aurora with me, and went to fucking Metro in Colorado with me. Dude, I got fucking goddamn units, nigga. And for the, another thing about it, oh fuck, I remember now. And see, that's the funny thing is people don't understand that about hypnosis. You really can't convince someone through hypnosis to do something that they don't want to do. And if you hypnotize them to do something or forget something or repress something, it's only because they want to do it on some conscious level. They want to do it. That's why you can't get them to do anything that they don't want to do on any conscious level. So that's why there's a necessity to have to, in the brainwashing, the technology or methodology, there you go, methodology. There's a necessity to have to break down a person's independent will, individual will, which is independent because there's no such thing as free will. And I'll explain that too over and over again why there's no such thing as free will. That's entirely fucking ludicrous. It defies the laws of physics. But anyway, the idea of because conservation of energy tells you that there can't be. You have to pay for everything in this universe. There is nothing, no free ride in this universe. Everything is vying for energy, and it is energy that your will is derived from. So there is a cost for your will. Now you have the independent ability with the limitations placed upon by your physiology to make choices. So therefore you have an independent will, but you have a free will. But shit, nah, I kind of lost it. I do that. I go on tangents and just forget what the fuck I was just talking about. Some real shit though. It wasn't organizations. It was some other shit. I mean, I know I was talking about organizations before I got to this. Actual phenomenal point. Oh, brainwashing. Yeah, brainwashing. So anyway, so in relationship to brainwashing, there needs to be some type of reconditioning in order to make certain things unpleasant, or so that you yourself, like Inception is a great fucking example of it, metaphorical exception, description of it, in relationship to them having to go into his dreams and convince him first that it was in his best interest, that it was something that he wanted, not something that they wanted to just implant in his brain, that it was something that he agreed to. And they had to go through various layers of his unconscious mind, or his conscious mind, to his unconscious mind, to implant, or to get him to agree to what they wanted to implant. But it had to be, and that's, when you talk about basic, brainwashing, that's what that is. It's a metaphorical representation of brainwashing. And I see the metaphor in my life because, Court, God damn it. And I recognize how much she looks like old girl. I mean, she looks like old girl so much. I mean, it's like, she's like such a metaphorical, and the two kids, it's a boy and a girl, and the girl's older, and they're all, and that's what my dreams were. They were always shadows. I had these vivid dreams of these shadows of Asar and Meadow as kids. And Courtney would feature herself in the dreams. And this was before I saw Inception. So I was just like, wow, that's kind of fucking crazy. And I built this dream world with Courtney. This and oh God, this is so fucking, I needed a new architect. Kitty Pryde. Shadow Cat. That's crazy. That's crazy. Kung Pao Kitty. I needed a new architect. Yeah, Michael Keaton played her father. That's crazy. So, it's a metaphor, So that's brainwashing in a nutshell. So I'm always talking about a host of things, OGX Life on YouTube, Alton Bones on Facebook. Let's make it happen, Gavin.